Welcome to Podcast. We have a special guest on this episode, none other than the current Open champion, Shane Lowry. How are you, Shane?
I'm good, Paddy. How are you?
All
Thanks for
good.
having me on.
No problem at all. It's a delight to have you on a massive name. How are you getting on in isolation?
Yeah, grand. I like sort of. I'm in Florida, but it's pretty similar to home. Like we're basically confined to our house, and it's funny because I have days where I don't feel great, where I feel a bit like down and not how I would normally feel, just because I've nothing really to work towards, and it's a place I've never been in before in my career, and yeah, but I just try and look. I've got a wife and a 3-year-old girl that keep me occupied, but yeah, it's just trying to do something every day to help my career. Like that's kind of what I'm getting. That's what I'm trying to do over these next few months, and look, when we all come out the far side of this, hopefully we get back to normality fairly quick.
Yeah. Well, listen, on the podcast, we talk to top sports people like yourself and want to know a bit about your background. So, like your early days, right through until where you are now, successful professional. So, where did it all begin for you?
So, well, I grew up in a small place called Clara in Offaly, and my dad was a footballer, a Gaelic footballer. So I grew up in Gaelic football was my first love, and probably still is, my first love. And I still love going to games and stuff. But then, when I was sort of 12, 13, I get into golf, and then when I got to like my late teens, sort of 16, 17, 18, I really started to think that this is what I can do, and I was starting to get pretty good. I started to play for Ireland and the amateur team, and as soon as I made the breakthrough onto the amateur team when I was about 18 or 19, so in about 06, 07, around that time, and I sort of progressed very quickly from there, and like what 09, so only 3 or 4 years later, I won the Irish Open as an amateur, and that kind of obviously kickstarted my professional career. But
I was saying, like, you won the Irish Open as an amateur. That was crazy. How much, because you went pro obviously after that, how much confidence did that give you going to the professional ranks, winning that there as an amateur?
yeah, it was obviously huge because it gave me, gives you like a 2-year exemption. So it gives you an exemption to kind of, you don't have to go and keep your card, or you don't have to do anything spectacular. So you kind of get to learn your trade, which was great. You know, I got to have my bad weeks and figure out what was the right thing, what I needed to do to be the best I could be. And but it obviously would have given me a lot of confidence. But then my confidence was taken, a big hit straight away, because I went into the professional tournaments and I didn't know, like, I wasn't doing any good for like months. Like, it was like, I had some bad times in those first sort of 6 or 8 months as a pro. It was quite difficult actually, and I missed a lot of cuts, and I wasn't playing well, and I was away from home more than I would have been used to. So, but I got used to it fairly quick, and then that was 2009. 2010 then was my first like full 12 months on tour.
Yeah.
And I did okay that season. I was pretty happy with how I did that season. So from there, I kind of kicked on pretty well.
So obviously, last year you won the Open, a major, but Portrush, a course where you have fond memories, because not only did you win the Open, but before you won the North of Ireland Championship as an amateur there too. So I'm sure that it was good. You had fond memories of the course. So for you, it's a special course for you, would you say?
Yeah, it is. Look, Portrush, I'm obviously going to be biased now, definitely, but it was always one of my favourite golf courses to
Yeah.
go and play. And I actually didn't play there that much over the years. I played the North of Ireland twice, and I got beaten in the final one year, and I went back the following year. So I got beaten in the final in 2007. and I went back the following year in 2008, and I won the North of Ireland. So I've only played there in 2 North of Irelands. I finished first and second, and then I played the Irish Open there in 2012, I think it was, and I did okay. I finished like 30th, but not great. But my next time to go back to Portrush and play there was I actually flew up a few weeks before the Open last year for practice round, and it turns out that was a good idea. I got to play there and got to sort of see what it was going to be like. And then when I went back up for the Open, obviously that was incredible. Yeah.
Actually, as I said, a few weeks before the Open happened, I played a charity game there, and I know I'm a complete novice at golf, but apart 4 holes, I think that's pretty good.
That was all right. That was all right. Yeah.
There's someone who doesn't play as much golf as I'd like to. I thought that was fine. But listen, 4 years before you actually won the Open, you were leading at the US Open, and it just didn't happen. So, you were leading in the final day at the US Open, and also you were leading in this the Open in the final day as well. Like, did anything play in your mind? No.
The US Open 2016, I was leading by 4 going into the final round, and there for the taking. Like, I was playing the golf of my life. I had a bad day. I think nerves probably got to me a little bit. I sort of gave up a little bit, which is a stupid thing to say, or maybe not to say, but because I did, but to do, because of the situation I was in. And then when I came to Portrush, I always said after the US Open that I was going to learn from this and that I was going to, take it with me forward in my career. But you never know when you're going to actually need it or when you're going to use it again. And it turns out, final round in Portrush, leading by 4, going into that round, pretty much similar situation to the US Open, albeit I feel was probably way bigger in Portrush because of where it was and what was happening. And then I just said to myself on the Sunday of the final round of the Open in Portrush, I just said I'm going to go out and fight to the very end. And I think I was kind of willing to go out and sort of, no matter what anyone threw at me, I was gonna take it on the chin and move on and do my best. But I was willing to go out and fight to the very end. And I knew I needed to stay aggressive and just be myself. And I think at the US Open, maybe a few years earlier, I was probably a bit less mature, and I kind of, got a little bit in myself and got nervous and got like afraid of losing. Whereas in Portrush, all I was seeing was the finish line, and I just kind of pushed on more.
So leading not just at any major, but a home major. How did you feel? The final day you're leading at your home major. Was there extra pressure you felt on you, or?
It was so the first 2 days go by and you're just trying to play your way into position. Then I'm leading going into Saturday, which is big day. The one thing going out Saturday, you want to kind of play your way into it, that you have a chance to win on Sunday. And I did that. Like, I probably the round of my life on Saturday, and all of a sudden I'm leading by 4. And then, you go into the final round and it's like literally, I said to my coach that morning, we were out for a little walk around, we were staying in Bushmills and we went for a little walk around the river. And I said to him, there's no real in between today. It's kind of either I win, it's going to be one of the best days of my life, or I lose, it's going to be the worst day of my life. So it's kind of, there was no in between. So it was up to me to kind of grab the bull by the horns and just go out there and do it. And I just feel like no matter what happened that day, I was just ready for it. Like, I was just ready to go out and win. And that's,
Tell me this, so what's it like teeing off? Like, what's the difference in emotions from teeing off at the first day of the Open and teeing off on the final day?
Well, I think actually the Open last year was different. I was incredibly nervous on the first tee on the Thursday for some reason, and I never get nervous in the first tee. I just don't. Like, it's kind of, you'd be a bit anxious about how you're going to play, but I'd never been nervous. I've never been so nervous as I was in the first day. And then Sunday, obviously, that was a whole different ball game. That was, you know, because the first tee shot in Portrush is quite tricky. You've got trouble both sides, and you know it's a hole that can really, you know, jump up and you can make a bad score on that hole. So I was just, all I wanted to do was just get the ball ahead of me and keep it in play and move on. But once I got my tee shot away, I was off and running. I was comfortable. Like I always say that, you know, I'm always at my most comfortable when I'm inside the ropes. I'm sure with you, like,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
when you're boxing, you're at your most comfortable when you're in the ring, because you kind of, that's what you're used to. Whereas you put me somewhere that I'm not used to being, I'll, you know, probably be a little bit different. But when I'm inside the ropes, that's where I'm at my most comfortable, you know.
Where did you feel the most pressure, like, if at all?
Probably from myself.
No, but
it's not. It's sort of from myself, but, and not that, like, look, if I went down and I didn't win the Open, it's not like my parents are going to be disappointed in me.
Yeah.
They're going to be disappointed, but you don't want to let people down. You don't want to, you know, you're there, and you know, you want to do, you're almost wanting to win for everyone else. You know, that's kind of the way it is. And you obviously you want to win for yourself, but you know, my wife, my kid, my parents, my friends, you know, you want to win for them, and you sort of feel that. And for, like, the way it was for me, it was the whole of Ireland that Sunday. That was kind of, that's who I was going out and trying to win it for, I suppose.
Yeah, I remember the crowd was unbelievable. But, like, what would you say? Well, what do you think? Or sorry, what do you think? You're an experienced golfer. What was the most daunting for you? Like, teeing off for the Irish Open as an amateur, or teeing off for the Open as a professional?
Do you know, I think they're actually quite similar. I don't remember much about the Irish Open. Like, that's over 10 years ago now. So it was kind of, I do remember it being quite similar. But once I got my first tee shot away, I was off and running. And like I said, I was at my most comfortable. But they're two totally different. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was 22 back in 2009, and this was the biggest day of my life at the time. If I didn't win, who knows where I would be now. Whereas, you know, if I didn't win the Open, I'd still be on tour. Obviously, my life has changed a little bit since then. You know, I'm a major champion now. It's kind of a bigger scale, and but yeah, I do feel like I always said that the Irish Open, I was never going to achieve anything bigger than that, and winning that as an amateur. But I do feel like I did that in Portrush last year. You know.
Well, this year, you're going to have created some history. You're going to be the first Irishman to hold the Claret Jug for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, well, Harrington did it as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
2 years in a row?
Yeah, 2007, 2008. He actually won it 2 years in a row.
Well, you didn't need to compete for it, so you made history.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know, it's mad. The Open is cancelled this year, so yeah, it's weird.
But obviously, you were going to win it again.
Well, I don't know about that, but I would have given him a best shot anyway.
No, so see, after you won it, I remember seeing, like, on the news, in Clara, the scenes were unbelievable. What was it like for you? What was the experience and the emotion like, you know, at your homecoming?
Yeah, so, like, the whole time afterwards, I wouldn't be, I'd be soft enough person, but, like, I wouldn't be a big crier or anything. And after, you know, I was making my speech, I mentioned my parents, I kind of had to stop for a minute and stop myself from, you know, tearing up. But when I drove into Clara in the bus, and I was standing in front of the bus, and I seen, like, how many people was there, and, like, that was the only time I really properly cried. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Because, you know, friends, family, people I've known my whole life, everyone there, it was just, that was one of the most incredible days ever. Like, it was great because golf is not celebrated like that, you know what I mean? So it was different, and I think it was good for the game, and it was good for, look, it's been great for my hometown. Like, You know,
Unbelievable.
and I love where I'm from. Like, I love being from Clara, and I love being from Offaly. Do you know what I mean? And to be able to bring the Clara joke back down there was just unreal. Like,
Class. And I think it's fair to say that you have the most famous golfing granny in golf.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Which is
yeah. Granny, she was gas. Like,
everyone
she's.
talked about it. It was
Uh,
funny. But
you actually just have to remind me. I was supposed to ring her today, and I never rang her, so I'll have to ring her tomorrow. Yeah, she's gas. She's a great woman. Like, and obviously, through these times, she's the person I'm most worried about. So hopefully, we all like, hopefully everyone gets through it, I suppose.
well, tell me, I mean, I love a bit of a party, so I'm interested in homecoming. What was the first drink you poured into the claret?
So I poured a bottle of Jameson into it. I went down. I drove back down on Sunday night. I'd say we left Portrush about 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
and we got back. We got back to my house about 1 o'clock, and then we went into. I've got a friend who owns a few bars in Dublin. We went into 37 Dawson Street as one of his bars, and he had a band there, and yeah, I went in behind the bar and poured a bottle of Jameson into it and passed it around. All my friends were there, and
Burn
that was unreal. Yeah, left there about 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, it was the start of an unbelievable week. Like, it was honestly, it was one of the best weeks.
Celebrate the whole week.
Yeah, it was one of the best weeks of my life. Like, the next day we went. It was funny because the next day was the first time I really seen the magnitude of the whole thing. Like, I went over to the Boar's Head on Capel Street, where like the Dubs go off for the Windy All Ireland say on the Monday afterwards, and I know Hugh well that owns it, and I went over there, and there's just like all of a sudden after half an hour there's TV cameras, there's news reporters trying to get in. And I was like, this is absolutely mental, like, and I had to ring my wife. She was on the way in. I had to say, come in the back door because they'll be taking pictures of you. And she was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then we went off up the mountains, up to the Blue Light. And yeah, we just looked, and that was the Monday. And then obviously down to Clara Tuesday. And we kept going till Saturday. It was unbelievable. It was the best week ever, yeah.
It's crazy because obviously you're a hugely successful golfer, but when you won like a major, the amount of like TV, print media, and all surrounded you and made the big thing of it, that makes it, that fulfills that gap. The word I should be using is that gives you proper recognition, which you deserve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the thing with Ireland is obviously, look, we're very lucky in Ireland to have. In the last sort of since Pádraig won his first one in 2007, he's won 3, Rory's won 4, G-Max won 1, Darren Clarke's won 1, now I've won 1. Like, I think Ireland have been blessed, like, the last sort of 13 years, we've a lot of majors, and that's the question I used to keep getting was, when are you going to win a major? When are you going to win a major? And it's almost like that defines your career. Look, if I had went through my whole career without winning one, obviously it wouldn't have been ideal, but I still think I would have had a decent career if I played on tour for 20 years. Yeah. But obviously now this kind of brings you to a whole new level. Like, I feel, I've always said, like, I'm not bigging myself up saying that I'm great or anything, but I always say, like, in golf, it's a great game because as long as you're in the event, you're kind of only 1 week away from the greatness to that really big week, which was obviously important for me.
Like, you had a really successful time with your old caddy Dermot.
Yeah.
And like, how did the hourglass man, Brian, your attitude and change your game for the better?
Yeah, like, myself and Dermot were together for 9 years, so he was the only caddy I ever had on tour, and we were very friendly, very close relationship. And then, like, when things are not going well, or you're not doing, you kind of need a little bit of a change somewhere. And unfortunately in our game, and everybody's the same in our game, caddies are the first. People change their caddy for a change of, like, emotion or scenery on the course. And Bo Brian, he wasn't working, or he was working in Dublin with one of his friends in an office job, and I rang him and asked him. He's caddied for a good few years on tour, and he wasn't caddying at the time. And I went and met him for a cup of coffee, and he kind of said, and this would sum him up the way he is. He's so laid back, so easygoing. Which, even though people would think I'm that way, when I get on the golf course, I can get the other way, where I'm very uptight and very, things annoy me, or whereas he's just great to have on the course because he's so easygoing. But he said to me when I met him for the first time, I've obviously known him for years, but met him for the first time to chat about working together. He said, "Sure, let's just go and have a bit of crack and make a few quid along the way." And that's kind of, that's the way we said we do, and we're still trying to do that, I suppose.
I can't remember ever meeting him personally. I might have, but my dad played in our glass, and he speaks highly of Brian and saying like he was a fantastic putter.
He was a good golfer. He played for Ireland himself when he was an amateur and all. And he always said that he was a great putter. He was one of the best putters ever. Yeah.
Everyone in our glass must speak highly of him then. But his putters. So
he's just a great lad, though. He's a great lad. And I always said because I became very friendly with Dermot, and then I found it very hard to part ways, to sack him. So it was. Then when I said I was getting a new caddy, I said I'm not going to become that friendly with him. But Bo's just the type of lad where I've become good friends with him now, and I go and meet him for a beer and a week off, and I hang out with him, and he's just a good lad.
Yeah. So here, you were at the Carl Frampton fight in New York.
Hard
to find out there.
So I was the USPGA. That was 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the USPGA was in New Jersey, in a place called Baltusrol, and I missed the cut. And I two of my friends were over. Two of my friends were living in New York. That summer. So the fight was on the Saturday night, and I said to the lads, we would try and get tickets for the fight. And then a guy called Jonathan Kennedy and Cahill, they owned the long haul. They got us 4 tickets actually, because another fella came with us, and we went out to the fight. And then we actually ended up the following day. We went for breakfast, and we were just messing about in New York, looking for something to do. And then we ended up in the same pub that Carl was in that afternoon, there for a while. Yeah. So it was great though. I was at a Carl Frampton fight in Belfast. I would say it must be 2012. I don't know who he fought, but he knocked him out anyway.
Yeah.
I can't remember who he fought, but I think it was 2012. But I was at that, so that was my second fight. I was at Carl Frampton fight. So yeah.
Well, who's your favorite fighter?
Who's my favourite fighter? You, Paddy.
Except for me, obviously.
I know. I have to say, I think what Tyson Fury's done with himself is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's true.
The way he's, gone to the dark places and come back, and now he's like the best in the world. Of all time, I suppose I remember years ago watching Steve Collins fighting. Stuff like that. Remember, back home, my dad sitting up to watch that. And, obviously, I remember watching Prince Nassim. He was unbelievable to watch, And then, obviously, I think Mick Conlan's going to be, he's the next big thing, isn't he? So, it'd be exciting to see and follow his career along the way.
And also, tell me, this is another big question I want to ask you. What will it mean to you to be on the next Ryder Cup team?
Oh, well, that's my ultimate goal for the next sort of few months. But look, I don't know how it's going to play out now. Yeah. If we're back golfing, hopefully we're back golfing by July, August, and then I get a chance to be able to make the team. But if that doesn't happen, we're going to have there might be 12 picks. if there's 12 picks, I hope I get picked. So I don't know. We just have to see how it goes. Obviously, with Harrington as captain, that's my main focus. It's been my main focus all year, and for the last few, since even before the Open last year, my main focus for the last 18 months has been making that team. And I said at the start of 2019, all I want to do for the next 2 years is make that Ryder Cup team, and I'm going in the right direction anyway, and the right way of doing it. Anyway. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Obviously, like as a boxer, an amateur boxer, for many years, my ultimate dream was to go to Olympic Games. Like, see yourself as a professional, would you say equally the Ryder Cup team will be your Olympic Games?
I think so. Yeah. Or I think like the thing is with golf and the Olympics, like we play like 30 events a year, whereas the likes of yourself, like you start your 4-year cycle, your main goal, like say, that's why I feel so bad for all the other Olympic athletes this year. The Olympics been cancelled because that's been their main focus for 4 years, and then we get to the year of it, it's cancelled, and they've got to wait another year. And who knows? Look, it's going to help some people because they're probably going to get in better shape and be quicker and faster and stronger. But some people might pick up an injury and it might hurt them. You wouldn't know. But for us, I think like Ryder Cup is probably, I would say the majors is like our Olympic Games. If you can somehow win a major, it's like you win an Olympic medal. Like, it's kind of, but the Ryder Cup is definitely up there. Like, but I think for golf as well, I think, golf, the Olympic Games is starting. Even this year, I just see how people are actually talking about it a little bit more. And I think when it gets to 2024 to 28, I think that's when golf will be really up there, recognised along with the majors. That's kind of, the way I look at it.
Well, I understand like the golfing calendar is always crazy busy, as you say, but like with the Olympics next year and with a chance to represent Ireland, would you consider it?
Oh yeah. I had my, I had my flights booked and everything for this year. I was planning on going to the opening ceremony and staying there for a few days afterwards. Wendy was coming with me, and I was looking forward to it. The way the Olympics is in Japan is the only downside is the golf course is 2 hours away from the Olympic Village, so we can't stay in the Olympic Village for the tournament. But I was going to try and stay a few nights, and my thing would be to go there and like hang out with like people like they're in a similar situation to you, like boxers or the other athletes, and get to hang out with those Irish people. And I'd say that's what you loved about it. Like I'd say that's the whole team aspect of it. Like I didn't get to ever experience a team aspect, and I think that's what I would have liked about, or I will like about it when it comes to it. But definitely in 2021, when I'm doing my calendar and schedule to start the year, that'll be one of my top priorities anyway.
Yeah, brilliant, and hopefully that it can fit your calendar, because obviously.
No, it will. It'll 100% be. It'll be in because they'll just do the same as they did this year. I think it's July 23rd next year, so it's the week after the Open, which is going to be the same as this year. So we'll be going. Yeah.
Well, who knows? Maybe like you can be like me one day and carry a flag.
That's don't think I wasn't pushing for that, Paddy. Anybody knows me knows I'm a real Irish man, and I like yourself, and I'd love to carry the flag.
Tell me this: what would you say would be your lowest moment in sport and your greatest achievement in sport?
My lowest point in my career so far. I'm lucky that like, even though I've had like some bad days where I don't feel like I'm doing as best as I would like to, or my potential would see me doing. I think after the US Open 2016 was the few weeks after that was like, it was unbelievable. I never thought that I'd experience it or take golf that hard. And I think since, there's probably a few reasons for that, because like before I was married or before I had a kid, golf was like my life. It was everything. It was all I did, and it was all I wanted to do, and that was it. Whereas now I'm married with a kid. It's not the be all and end all. Look, it's my career, and I want to be as good as I can be. But at the end of the day, as long as they're healthy and happy, I'm happy. And but obviously, the highest point of my career is Portrush, and I'll look. Apart from, I think the only thing that will even come close to matching that is if someday I get to put on a green jacket and win the Masters. Like that would be that would top it all. But well, it wouldn't even top it all. Like the Open in Portrush will never be topped.
Yeah.
Unless I can win it again when it's back there. But
you will. Yeah. Tell me this. You say you have a young family, young kid there as well, and a wife. Like, how do you find the balance between sport and your personal life?
Yeah, it's look, we're very lucky as golfers. We they travel with me. Yeah. Obviously, they travel probably 75% of the time. So they're with me on the road a lot, and we try and live our normal life away from the golf course. And when I'm going to the course, I'm just going to work. But I think everybody has to make sacrifices. Like Wendy made sacrifices. She gave up her job and packed up her life, and has moved across to America with me for we move across for a few months every year. Look, Iris she's in a school in Dublin when we're living in Dublin, and she's in a school here in Florida when we're here. So she has that has to be tough for her. She's only 3, different people, different teachers. But when she starts school in Dublin, she'll start school in Dublin in 2 years, and we will be full time in Dublin. So that means I'll be more on the road. It'll probably get harder then. I'll be away more, but there's sacrifice you have to make. And at the end of the day, I'm very lucky to be doing what I love doing, and making a decent living out of it.
Fair play to you. But here, tell me, obviously, with the coronavirus raising at the minute, do you know what's next for yourself? Are there any plans?
No idea. We're actually talking at the minute about when we're going to go home. I don't know when we're going to go home. We've only this house rented until May, so we're gonna take it for another year. Though we're gonna rent it for another year because we might have to stay on a little bit longer. And then the PGA Tour season is going to be at the end of this year, and we're going to be back in America. But no, I don't know what's next. I just I can't practice. The golf courses are closed here, so I go. I have a little homemade gym, and as much as I don't like going in there, it gets me away for a couple of hours every day. And I never thought I'd say it, Paddy, but my gym in my house is actually my getaway these days. So that's how exciting my life is at the minute. But look, I think we'll be back in about July or August. Yeah. I'm hoping we'll be back in July or August and competing and playing. But it's strange, just weird times for everyone, isn't it? I can imagine it's just, for everyone, And the thing is, I've said this, during the week, I've done a few interviews. And during any crisis, during the recessions, during, any times, sport has always been everyone's release. But people don't even have sport these days. But hopefully, hopefully we'll be back sooner rather than later.
Right, so we're going to do a wee quick fire round, right? If you could choose a different sport, what would it be?
Quick fire, I suppose, Premiership footballer.
Premiership football, good choice. Your greatest rival?
Don't think I have any rivals.
No?
No, hopefully I will after the Ryder Cup this year.
You don't want to call someone American, mate?
What?
You don't want to call someone out?
Who can I call out? I'm not good enough to be calling Rory out. So.
Of course you are.
No.
Your favorite quote?
I don't do quotes or anything like that. I have no idea.
Yeah, but that's what I asked you. But your favorite sports person, past or present?
My favorite sports person of all time is probably I'll give you two. I'll give you Colin Cooper and Henry Shefflin. Favorite sports people.
Actually, right behind me, I have a hurl signed by there's Cooper. I'm sorry, and Shefflin.
No way.
Yep.
Deadly.
Signed by both of them. Brilliant.
It's signed by the two, by Colin Cooper as well.
Yep.
No way.
What
That's
is it?
gas.
I think it is, But anyway, listen, Shane, it was fantastic to have you on the show. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast. And I hope you and your family get home safe.
No problem. Thanks, Paddy. Thanks for having me, and I'll chat to you soon.
You man.